it's MK and I am here with a Shimmerz design team layout for you guys today, and I am playing along with Christy's Beautiful Life, 30 Days of Sketches. And today's sketch is by Ruth Lewenden, and I have picked out a title already using two uber old alphas. This one here is a color ready alpha set by Close to My Heart. I picked it up from a give take table, so it did not actually have any packaging to go with it. And then the other alpha set is a Kaiser Craft alpha set, I think from Time Machine or Factory 42. I cannot remember. And then I also picked out two other thickers. This one here is Casey, and the other one is, oh my gosh, Maggie Holmes right here. And I just picked it out for the leaves that are on these two sticker sheets. So I went ahead and pulled off all those leaves so that way I didn't forget about them and never pull them off and end up wondering what the heck I'm going to be doing. So here's another, I also pulled out some of these homemade tree rings that were made during a class that that Janet and I have put on, so that that has happened already. And then I also pulled out some more of these leaves that come in the March kit for Some Assemblage Required. This is another look at the sketch that I will be recreating today. I have two photos that I would like to add to my sketch, but I'm going to be cutting them down just a little bit so they fit nicely in a circle. This film strip is also from the March kit from Some Assemblage Required, as well as this stencil, but I won't be using this stencil today. It actually didn't really work with what I ended up creating using my paints. Also, I have the leftovers, I believe from day 5. I can't remember exactly when I used this paper, but I do have the leftovers, and one of them is this Minte paper that is from the Woodland collection. It is paper number 1. You can buy these papers individually, by the way, if they're still available. And then the second paper here is also by Minte, and that one is by the Wilderness collection, and it is paper number 3. So I'm just showing you the fronts and the backs because I think the front or the back side is used. This paper here, this blonde wood, is from 13 Arts, and it was a travel paper. It's called Travel the World, but I don't really remember. I think it's called On the Map. As the individual paper, but those ones are not available individually. I am working with a solid piece of white cardstock, and the paints that I'll be playing with today is Creamy's Dandelion, Shimmerz Bumblebee Bee, Creamy's Get Glowing, and Inkling's Minor 49er, as well as a couple sprays. The first spray I'm super excited to have is called Snowstorm, and it is a Vibes, and then Hot Fudge, which is also a Vibes as well. And the difference between colorings and Vibes is that colorings is just the ink, and Vibes has a slight shimmer to it. And that's the same with the paints as well. I've had a lot of questions about the differences between all the paints. Creamy's has less shimmer in it, and then you go to Inklings. Inklings has a little bit of shimmer in it. They all have shimmer, but then you get a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more until you work your way up to the original Shimmerz paints. So I think there's Creamy's, Inklings, Blings, and then Shimmerz. And so it just basically is the amount of shimmer in them, and then of course the color too, because they're just beautiful. These are all my yellow colors. Well, not all of them. I left one up there. So I'm going to go ahead, and I went using my Creative Memories circle cutter, my large one, and I traced the inside of it because I thought that circle was the absolute perfect size for what I want to accomplish. And then I pulled out some packaging, which is left over from a couple simple stories die cut pieces. And I'm starting with the lightest color, which I felt like was Minor 49er, because it is just a gold shimmer. There's actually no color except for the gold shimmer that's inside. The glitz and glitter of it is all that is there. And so I'm putting that down as my base coat, and then I'm going to do Get Glowing, and that one is a little bit of color, but not very much more than the than the Miner 49er. It does add some, but not a whole lot. And I love this yellow color just because of the fact that it's more like that straw color. And then the next one that I'm going to be doing is this Bumblebee Bee. And I have to say I have to get another pot because I am almost done. And this Bumblebee Bee adds a little bit of brightness. So I'm only working inside, so that way it kind of shadows my photos for where I do it. So I don't put a whole lot of it on the outside, but I do some just to try to cover up that pencil line because I did go a little dark on it. And then next up, I'm going to be using my last color, which is that Creamies. Oh my gosh, Dandelion. Oh, it is such a beautiful, beautiful yellow. I absolutely love this yellow. Oh my goodness. And I really wanted to use this yellow all over, and I had to stop myself because I didn't want the entire circle to be covered. I wanted it to look all blotchy and whatnot. And then, of course, I cleaned off my brush using the Dandelion and just sprinkled it a little bit. And then I'm going to go back and sprinkle with Miner 49er. Again, it is not really a color. It's more of just the shimmer. Now I'm going to take my hot fudge in my Vibes hot fudge, and I'm going to paint. I'm just going to use the stick, and I'm going to paint very messily, trying to get a wreath going around my circle. And I'm just using my pencil line, not really caring if I stay inside the lines, go out, because I'm going to go back and draw in some twigs and things like that. I'm not really artistic enough to do the whole wheat effect. So I'm just letting whatever paint falls out is what paint's going to come in. That's honestly it. I went in one direction on the outside, and now I'm going in that same exact direction on the inside. But then on the outside, I'm going to go back around and do the opposite direction. That way I can just get a little bit of, I don't really want to call it dimension, but, a little bit of organicness to whatever I'm doing to the circle. Making a wreath, I guess. A wheat wreath is what I was going for. And then, of course, I'm going to add some splatters in just the hot fudge, and they're going to soak in and be absolutely beautiful by the time that it is dried. So now I'm going to take this Color Ready Alpha set from Close to My Heart, and I'm going to start with Bumblebee Bee at the bottom, and then I'm going to do Dandelion at the top and make a more like an ombre effect. And I absolutely, oh my gosh, these take the color so beautifully. I love how they turn out. But I'm going to set them off to the side and let them dry and work on my photo cluster. And I'm actually going to do the entire photo cluster off of the page because the page is off drying. And I'm cutting my photos, I think at 4 1/4, no, 3. Wow, I have no idea what I cut them down at, but I do know that they're 1/4 of an inch shy of a 4-inch, and then I have no clue what I cut them widthwise, none whatsoever. But I am going to take all of my leftovers, and I'm going to try and use up my scraps first before I cut into the larger triangles. So I'm going to take my distress tool and scuff them all up. I am currently working with this distress tool like a lot, but I do end up cutting a bunch of these triangular pieces to make them work for my layout. I'm not really sure. I was trying to get the wood grain to all go in the same direction. So that's where I started. And then I was like, oh, I don't have enough pieces. That's too much work. My brain hurts. So there's no way that I will be able to get those to work. So I'm just going to map my photos the best I could because I went ahead and I glued them together at angles. And so I was like, okay, well, I can make this work. It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm going to put it at an angle anyways. So I'm going to just, play with it the way that, the way I want, basically. So I'm going to go ahead and make the wood grain pretty close, my first mat, and put it up pretty close, but you'll see some of it sticking out because it's not exactly square. I hope this is making sense. I have no clue. I'm going to put that blonde scrap. I don't actually end up cutting out any more. I just take that blonde scrap and add it. And then I had another small scrap of the same blonde wood grain, but I'm going to use the other side because I love that brown, and it's got the map print on top. So it's tone on tone brown. And I'm going to add that to my layout as that border that, if you look in the sketch, it's got a scallop border that extends past the photo. And that's what that is representing right there. I just really like the look of it. I like how not everything is perfectly square up on the photo. The photo is a little off center from all of the rest of the elements. So I really like that, and I'm trying to go with it. And then as for this, I absolutely love this plaid, you guys. It is up my alley. It's got blues and yellows and greens and browns, and I just love this plaid. So I'm going to rip it to where you only see a little bit of it. It doesn't need to take center stage at all. I actually want my background to take center stage, well, next to my photos, of course. But I am scuffing up the edges on this as well because, for one, it's an outdoor photo. So anything outdoors, I feel like all the papers need to be ripped and scuffed and just borderline crinkled. And so anyways, I just go ahead and do all that. I didn't like this triangle sticking out, so I'm going to go ahead and cut it off. And I like that a lot better. Even though it is at a weird angle, I do really like that wood grain a lot better without that triangular piece to it. So, and I'm going to pop it all up just to give it some dimension. These are more photos of my husband's goose hunt. And he just took really good pictures while they were sitting there waiting for the geese to come in. And the point of view that he just took, he took pictures of his friends sitting there doing whatever they're doing to try to stay awake. And then, of course, he put the camera up real close to the blind so you can look out and see all the little decoys that are out out on the pond or lake or whatever the body of water that they were next to. All right, so I went ahead and I stuck my tree rings down, but I have not glued them down just yet. I'm going to use my film strip in two different places just to have it up and down. Now I'm trying to create a companion page for the one that I created 2 days ago. Because of the fact I'm using the exact same papers, some of the same elements, but I don't have all of the same elements. Like I don't have any more of the fussy cuts that I cut out of a Minte paper pack. I don't have any more rub-ons. I don't have any of that stuff. The only thing that I had was more film strips and these wood pieces from the March box. That's all that I had. So I brought in other things that helped tell the story. I brought in the wood grain, even though you can't really see the wood grain that I used because I'm using the exact same papers on both pages, the exact same colors, but you really can't see the wood grain. So I brought in the tree rings and then I brought in the colors and whatnot. Now I'm not bringing in any of the oranges, which is fine. I really like the fact that it's all just this yellow color. And then my blind word really blended a bit too much in the background. So I'm just taking a black Muji pen and outlining it. Now I do have to say that this is not very thick alpha set, so I do mark up my letters and I'm just going to go with it. I'm okay with it. I got the B and I think I got the N or the D, I can't remember. And I left them. I didn't try to cover them up. I didn't try to go back and repaint. Nothing. I just left them, you guys. It is what it is. I did have to move that bottom tree ring just so that way the word blind fit in. And I wanted it on the page rather than on any of the elements, just in case because like I said, there's nothing there to pop up on dimension at all. And now I'm just going to be adding all of these leaves. Like I said, I'm really enjoying all this blondness. I'm enjoying the yellow color because of, the fake grass that they're hanging out in. And I absolutely love, I just love this. And all the, the only color really is the green film strips and that plaid paper is really the only color. Everything else is gold or yellow or brown. And I have to say, these are my two favorite colors to work with is brown. I'm very boring. I don't do rainbows. I love brown. So anyways, I did cut up one of those leaves that came from the thicker set. I think it's, I forgot what it was already called, you guys, I apologize. But I cut it in half so I could use it in 2 separate places instead of having one really long sticker. And then this is me cutting it again because I had a second one. And I'm going to go ahead and just extend the upper cluster that I have going on. That's like my large cluster. And I'm going to use every single one of my wood pieces again, like I did 2 days ago, because I just feel like, you know, I don't know, I really wanted that full effect. So then I'm going to take this white, it's this white Vibes, and sprinkle it all around the page. Now, the only effect that you're really going to see it on is on the tree rings, because it reacts to the distress ink that I use to ink up my tree rings, because believe it or not, they actually started out white. But yeah, you really don't see it, the use of the white. But the point of it is because now I'm going on with this brown, and when the white and the brown mix, I'm going to get 2 different colors of the brown. And so that's what I was going for, is to get the light and the dark of the 2 colors. So when I sprinkled the white, I hurried up and sprinkled the brown, so that way I do get that good mix before the white dried. So that was the only reason why I used the white, because I wanted it to mix with the brown. I know I said that 3 times now, but I'm trying to make a point. So anyways, that is my layout for today. I had so much fun painting with my paints and making this background for this layout. This was a very fun sketch. I cannot thank you enough, Ruth, for this sketch. Thank you. Please be sure to, if you want to order from Shimmerz, put my name down in the comments. It lets them know that you found their paint shop through me. Also, too, thank you so much for hanging out with me. And oh, the blog, Shimmerz Paints has a blog, and oh my gosh, some of the close-ups on that blog are way better than what you see on social media. So go check out that blog. It is down below. All the links are down below that are my usual links, and the things and whatnot. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciate it, and I will check y'all later.